Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another breakdown video. Today I'm going to be talking about wrestling because I checked out the Stone Cold podcast that happened after Raw this week with AJ Styles. And I checked out another one that I'll be doing after this. I'll recording that one. So AJ Styles, I was excited to see this and see what he was going to say, Stone Cold, during this interview because I thought it would be pretty interesting. Boy, was I wrong. This interview was horrible. It's probably one of the worst. Well, I don't know. Was it the worst podcast I've ever seen with Stone Cold? Probably not. But it was way up there. Like, it was a bad one. Like, I didn't think it was entertaining at all. He kept saying that he kept talking about his work ethic, and that's basically all he talked about throughout the whole entire interview. It's like, we already know he's a hard worker. We already know he's been through a lot of stuff in his wrestling career, and that's all he kept talking about. And they didn't really stray from that. It's almost like Stone Cold just didn't care during the interview and didn't want to steer him in any direction, or he tried, and he kept giving the same responses. I don't know, like I think they would have went over the answers a little bit before they did this interview, but didn't really. I didn't really like it. It's probably one of the worst. You know, I thought Paige's was informative, but it was kind of lame, and I can't remember the other one where I gave a bad review. Somebody else I gave a bad review. Paige, I think, was probably the other one that was probably not as good. I wish she wouldn't have been so annoying. Yeah, that's what it was. She was the most annoying podcast. AJ Styles is probably the most dullest so far that I've seen. And I haven't seen Edge and Christian yet. I'm gonna work and watch them at some point. AJ Styles, nothing was there. I mean, it was interesting to find out where he came from and about his family life and things like that. That was pretty interesting. But halfway through the podcast, it just got boring because he, at times it just dragged and dragged and dragged. And when he finally got to certain questions, he gave the same responses over and over again. It's worth watching because you get to see interaction between Stone Cold and AJ, and the respect Stone Cold has for AJ. But besides that, I don't know. Like, I would probably give the podcast, probably a C- because it just wasn't that good compared to all the other podcasts that we've seen. I don't know what they talked about beforehand or whatever. Like, I think they should go through some of the questions that would be very, very interesting to the fans. And I think talking about TNA and Ring of Honor and New Japan and stuff kind of in depthly on the podcast was the one thing that was the good thing about it. They talked about Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, and Samoa Joe. He talked about them working with them in TNA. And even brought up Dixie Carter and talked about her. It's pretty interesting in that way. It wasn't that great of an interview. I'm sure the shoot interview he's had with RH Video or whatever they're called now, or multiple things, podcasts online are probably way better than whatever. And I heard the Jericho one that he did the podcast with online, probably you can find on YouTube, was way better than Stone Cold one. So I don't know. I have no idea. But it just didn't click with me. Like the interview just wasn't that great. I was really excited to watch it too, so it's kind of a letdown that it was like kind of boring and dull a little bit. Never was exciting to me to hear anything that he said during this podcast. It was just kind of like a blah podcast with Stone Cold. So I guess he had to finally have one that wasn't that great. This is the one that's not that great. Sad thing is, it's AJ Styles. You get to learn a few things, but all in all, it just wasn't that great. So, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about the AJ Styles Stone Cold podcast. That's a mouthful. Anyway, let me know what you thought about that. Comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe. And, as always, keep rocking.